Bless.
Okay, well, we can make a start because we are just for it. Hopefully Helen and Rebecca will join us.
Welcome. Not so.
No, he's on, he's catching up on toil from spending like about 200 hours getting Jubilee Gardens finished.
Wow.
Okay. Okay, right, well, welcome everyone. We currently don't have anyone online. So,
Helen.
just as we speak, here's Helen. Hi, Helen. Can you get rid of the recording that started, little
Yeah.
message? Hi. We've literally just started. Your timing was perfect. Okay, Ian, have we had any apologies?
No apologies, Chair, no.
Okay. Right, has anyone got any declarations of interest?
Not specifically, thanks, Gary.
Okay, right, has everyone had a chance to read the minutes of the February meeting?
I gave them a cursory glance. I will propose them.
Okay.
No shipments picked up by anybody else.
I've read them through and I didn't spot any. Okay? Everyone all right? Okay, right, so we can approve those. Thanks, Phil. Seconded, Sarah, right?
Yes, second,
Yeah,
yes.
excellent. Right, Ian, if you could just run us through the actions.
Certainly, Chair. Number 31, which relates to quotes for picnic benches and wood carving. No progression on that, I'm afraid.
Nothing at all.
The next one, 42.
So can I just, this is Swansea Council,
Yeah, I've spoke to him and reminded him, so I will drop him another reminder tomorrow, because it was some time back when I spoke to him and he's like, can you refresh my memory? So I called and had a conversation, so I will chase him on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Lovely, thanks for that. Okay, next one.
Number 42 relates to the draft environmental vision plan, and as agreed at our agenda setting, this is to be closed because Robert has incorporated this into
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 71 relates to erecting 3 signposts, and again that is being chased up by Rob.
Okay,
No change on that. Similarly with the 79, obtaining quotes for signage, again Ash and Paul are chasing that up and that is in hand.
okay, good. We didn't quite hit the end of the year, but well.
Then we've got the
that's 2 hours.
number 80, map of fruit trees, we've deferred until April.
Yeah, we decided we'd do that later, yeah.
Number 88, which relates to the skate park and hedging, that's with Chris Evans, Councillor Chris Evans.
Yeah.
I spoke to Chris, there's no change and he will be contacting me once he has an update on that.
Okay,
Number 89, Councillors O'Connor and Thomas in relation to participating with the big climate leap, and as agreed at the agenda setting meeting, we were to close that.
yeah, because they're clearly not going to show any interest, so.
Number 91, and that is relating to the creation of a suitable poster leaflet
This is for the Buzz and Bloom, isn't it? No, not Buzz and Bloom, Be Friendly.
Yes. Phil, do we have any update on that?
Rob's been absolutely, nose to the grindstone.
Yes,
this
with
month.
Jubilee Gardens.
He sent me a leaflet proof. It looked absolutely fine to me, but it's a case then of getting artwork and
Okay.
various bits and pieces, and then hopefully getting it out before the end of the spring. Really.
Yeah, so can we try and aim to have that ready to go by April meeting?
I think May would be. I think we should have movement by the end of May.
Yeah, we're waiting 2 weeks.
If we're not already.
Got the leaflet draft proof, then all it needs to do is go to SA1 maybe. For the artwork.
Rob's got this on your agenda later on, which Rob has given you.
Okay, right, we've got an update on that, lovely.
Okay. The next one is number 93, which relates to the climate emergency action. This was originally deferred until May, but as agreed prior to the meeting, that's now deferred until April.
Yeah, we'll try and get an update in April on that.
Then with the next two are concluded. Then we have number 96, Mumbles Green Heroes, suitable date for a visit. That's ongoing, I understand.
Yeah, that was update. They weren't able to fit in a visit in March, so
So we'll defer that to April.
this was for the recycling
That's
centre.
right.
Yeah.
Number 97, again, it's
Oh, I haven't got 97, I only go up to 96.
yeah.
On paper, Carrie, on paper. It's online.
I'll read them out. Is that okay? Right, number 90, where was it? Number 97 is to meet with, this is for Councillor Nelson, to meet with Rob Hernando to discuss potential sites for grass verge scheme in Males.
That's done, isn't it, Helen?
Yeah,
Darling.
complete.
Lovely.
Ticked off, perfect.
Thank you. There's only two more. Number 98 is to discuss the option of including the Bee Friendly project in the forthcoming MCC newsletter, which actually went out last month.
Came and went without.
Close that one, Chair.
So we have park it.
I park it until the next leaflet, which will be summer, autumn.
Autumn, and it slightly change in the format of how that leaflet looks as well. So there will actually be a page per ward, so an update of what's taken place in each ward.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that is
A
good.
page from the chair, a page of upcoming events, an environmental page, and then obviously because we're limited, the rest of it will be so
That's the Males and West Cross
have separate pages.
have pages next to each other, so we can put bee-friendly streets across both.
Things to fill her face with.
Close it though, Chair. Would that be okay?
That'd be a lovely something to put.
Yeah. The last one is number 99, and this is closed as well. This relates to emails to Councillor Townsend Jones and Councillor Nelson. Interested parties agreeing key aspects of Mumbles Buzz and Bloom, which was actually launched last Friday, and that was
We had a meeting about
exemptions.
that.
Thank you.
We're zapping through. Okay, thank you very much.
No idea how many times I shut my mouth at this point.
Okay, budget monitoring report, not as much spent as we had hoped by this point. And in Castlewood, nothing, well, that's the biggest chunk, obviously, and we are stuck on that because,
It's just worth noting this is up to January.
of course,
It says
yeah.
1st of January, so you've got February and March to be updated in there once it goes down your end, so you may find you might have a bit more movement, guessing from the boxes that are in the room.
A bit of buying going on. Excellent. Okay, so nobody came forward, presume, with any questions? No, I had no questions.
That to Paul over there.
With progress in Castlewood.
Because we are match funding Swansea Council money.
Mhm.
So we have to move at Swansea Council's pace. We have a meeting fixed for the 29th of April with Swansea Council.
Been under discussion for about 3 years,
5 years.
5 years. Okay.
I mean, now, but there is actually money there now. It has been approved. The meeting with the officer on the 29th is to walk the paths and actually discuss what is to be done. And then one hopes they will then commission.
Can you put a very, very wet day?
Well, it's fixed for the 29th, so you'll have to speak to the rain gods.
I'll get there with a horse pipe to show them where the pipe patches are.
Oh, tell me
We have
about
the
it.
same problem with
Yeah.
ours, and I think it's the 1st of May, so I won't be able to be there at the meeting and I will go.
But hopefully-
Be chipping in all the time here, but it's not within the community council the problem lies.
No, No, it is the
people to do the work. That's a problem because it's very specialised.
Yeah, just to pick up on what Sarah was saying there, there's been obviously sitting council and stuff over the years been cut back and cut back and cut back. So they need to now fit and plan this into their agenda for next financial year. Because basically their time is taken up in this financial year. And they won't know what the staff won't know what their priorities are until then, and whether or not they can fit the work into the window. Having said that, I had an interesting chat with our environmental officer. We had an interesting chat with Malcolm Edwards, I think it's Malcolm Edwards, who is the gentleman who did work for Mumbles Development Trust / Woodland Trust.
Oh, the Kid Coid.
Down in the West Cross Woods about 15 years ago.
And the rest.
Yeah, and I'm led to believe, I don't know whether this is accurate or not because I haven't spoken to him myself, Malcolm, that he may have actually overseen and project managed the laying or the relaying of the paths at that point as well, and may still be a preferred contractor for City Council. Again, I need to come back to the City Councillors to find out whether that's accurate or not, but it may be that there's an alternative person out there other than the city that might be able to do this work.
What I suggested to Will is we speak to Down to Earth, because they have interesting, sustainable solutions to park building.
I mean, they may well be a preferred contractor as well.
So I think that Will has picked up on that.
I think the benefits of perhaps using someone who's worked that area before would be linking in with what
who worked on it at the time, who is still working.
this gentleman that I've spoken
Oh, he still is.
It's the same guy.
Right. Oh, I thought you said you hadn't actually spoken to him directly.
I haven't spoken to him directly, so I've spoken to Rob, who knows that he was the chap who did it.
Yeah, he did all the parts, the whole Underhill, everywhere. Yeah, they were all done as part of Kid Coid. It was 2005 to 2008.
That's it.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Good, excellent. Right, okay, so nothing more on the budget. Everybody happy with that? Do we have to formally agree the budget? In which case, yes, can we all in agreement that we accept this budget report? Thank you very much. Right, monthly report, brilliant as ever. I hope you have all read it so that we only just need to answer any questions anybody has on it. The only thing I noticed, there is an error on this one's been updated from the there is no longer an error on the last page.
Also just to say, I know that Ian did ask and Rob did ask for questions to be submitted prior to the session this evening, and there was none received. But on that note, just while we're talking about the environmental officer, I'd like to personally extend my thanks to Ash and Rob for all of their hard work in maintaining and meeting the deadline for Jubilee Gardens, because they've done an awful lot of manual labour themselves, and I think they should be immensely proud of how the project has turned out. It looks fantastic, and I know that for Rob it was quite difficult coming in to somebody else's vision who had started the application in the grant and then trying to run with it and to see it as where it is now, from the overgrown garden, completely unusable to what it is now. I think it's an amazing achievement, and
fabulous. I went past it today. Looking great. And yes, I was going to do the same. I was going to add it on to the end of this. No, that's fine. Because yes, I mean, we know how hard they have worked. They have absolutely worked flat out, and they've done a fantastic job. And also thanks to Phil who has been down there a few times
Yes.
helping out, which is
You say back afterwards.
Looking after the tools, you know, but, you know, offering advice whether it's wanted or not.
Okay, so the only thing I would just say from it is, and if everybody who is available can be there, we have the evaluator from National Lottery coming on April the 10th for, to look at Norton Nature Reserve. So we obviously want to have as many volunteers, councillors, officers, anybody and everybody you can drag in off the street to be down there to meet with her. So it's 10 till 12 on April the 10th. Right.
Just a quick thought, a little suggestion maybe. I know that you as a group have been trying to find somewhere you could go and do a trip to, and the recycling centre hasn't been possible. What about a committee trip down to Jubilee Gardens so you can all actually see what has been done down there firsthand?
Yeah. Unfortunately, Helen's not available, but the rest of us, I don't know, Ed, are you 10th of April? It's a Thursday morning. She's coming at 10.
That's a great idea, Kerry. If it is the 10th, I'm sorry, I'm in Cardiff, but I think I'll go down. You know, I'll make sure I go down and have a proper look. But great idea.
Literally just across the road, aren't they? So.
Oh yeah, it's just across the road from Jubilee Gardens. Because I'm hoping that we might encourage her, as it's also lottery funded, to actually go and have a look at Jubilee Gardens while she's here. Because I think that would be really good for her to see how it's been transformed.
It's a greenhouse stuff.
They have.
If you had to have read this report, you would know.
As a structure is up, there are some parts missing which we've emailed the company for. I've confirmed the delivery address today to them, so I'm just waiting for them to send me an invoice and then we're fine, and then it will come. It'll be completed then.
Yeah, there's been a hold up on various payments that we could have raised that under there because the MCC credit card is not operational at the moment.
It is.
Yeah,
it's been.
So it has been like for the last week or so, hasn't it? Nothing's been able to be paid for because the card hasn't been functioning. So a lot of these things are last minute because we've been stuck, unable to.
I was just worried that they turn up and they go, "Where's the greenhouse?" But the greenhouse is there.
So hopefully by the 10th of April, it will even have all the missing parts.
And shelving, so I can put my plants that I've been growing for.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so just on record to thank Rob again for another excellent report. And if I could ask Ian, if you could perhaps add it to the folder for full council next Tuesday, and I will mention it in my report to encourage people to read it.
Yes, certainly.
Okay. So as I say, 10th of April is the key date. That's the one we want to focus on particularly. Okay, right. Bradford scheme. Helen, I think that's in hand, isn't it?
Sorry, Carrie, what's the update?
Bradford scheme. You've identified the appropriate places.
Yeah.
Have we got Swansea Council agreement to them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Simon Lydiard has granted permission and asked us to provide a planting plan and to order the required plants and seeds. One thing Rob has asked for clarification for, there was a discussion on whether the Grass Verges budget should be split with a small proportion going into West Cross.
No,
as last year's display didn't work. So is that now being resolved?
To be honest, I'm not interested.
I don't mind a small amount. I think that is there any point me saying anything?
I'm sorry.
Ed has also been looking at the sites in Fairwood Road with Rob, and I think that we have agreed to allocate some funding to that. It will not come anywhere near the
No,
amount
that's
that,
right. Yeah, that's okay. That's what you, Kerry, we've had a quite long conversation about this. I was just concerned that large amounts would kind of never really ever come into mails, but I totally don't have a problem with, updating the West Cross stuff all the time, just as long as it feels like fair, so that the substantial amount comes to mails. But otherwise, we never get anything.
Can I say something here? Because it's like greenwashing, really. Okay.
what him and Rob have done.
Met up with Rob there, we walked up and down Fairwood Road, and there's a lot of grass verges on both sides. It's not really suitable for wild
No.
flowers. It could be planted up some beds with animals,
Yeah.
but I think what we kind of agreed on, that there would be more of what we want in terms of visuals, biodiversity, habitat, pollination, all those things, if we went more towards selected shrubs.
Yeah, I think that's sensible.
Perennials, yeah.
Perennials, yeah, with nothing more than about 4 foot high.
Yeah, so you're
So
not,
you can see,
yeah,
there's the road, pavement, no, the road, the verge, the pavement, the verge on Kenilworth side and Baywood. So there's lots of opportunities. It don't have to be packed up right by the side of the road. It can be split up. There's so many options there then for everything. For berries, you've got colour, you've got leaf colour, you've got berry colour, you've got flowers, you've got so many things there. And once they're in, they're in.
I think this is the important thing, that the great thing about the perennials is, yeah, we plant them up and there they are then. We're not having to spend money year after year.
Because I have to say, last time, we were literally planting clover next to clover,
Yeah,
achillea next to achillea. It was all there already, and it wasn't going to take as well as the stuff that's naturally seeded there, which is what Tyvian said years ago.
yeah,
You want wildflowers, just don't.
You get wildflowers by not spraying.
yeah, exactly.
Last year, there was a myriad of flowers just around outside my house. Bees everywhere, flies. Things came up just on their own.
Exactly.
Clovers, hawksbits, everything was coming up there.
I think just to chip in on the Fairwood Road, one of the things that Rob fed back to me from that conversation he'd had with you, Ed, was that obviously the residents along there are used to putting out their bags.
Yeah.
So whatever planting scheme is developed for Fairwood Road, it would have to be in certain spots that aren't.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if that's to increase, then it would naturally increase over time to allow certain spots to be the recycling.
Yes, I mean, good. Because it would actually help, as you say, to focus the recycling and the rubbish in particular places, which is rather than it just being scattered the whole way up and down Fairwood Road. So I think that would be a good kind of.
It would also highlight slightly more problematic spots.
Yeah, okay.
All right, okay, so we're happy with that. So that's an action, obviously, for us to now try and get a planting plan timetable for how we're going to action Males and Fairwood Road.
That's for Ash, okay?
Lovely, thank you very much. Right, Mumbles Gardens question time feedback. Well, 2 of us, 3 of us, 4 of us, well, 5 of us who were there. Everybody there apart from Sarah and Phil, who were busy elsewhere. So anyone want to make a comment on it from different perspectives? Participant?
I get 3 questions in.
I know.
It was well attended. It was a nice friendly crowd. The panel went well and was added to by Maggie
Carr.
Carr, and very good. I thought people could be quiet. I thought,
Could have been more.
you know, put a bit more in. That's why I managed to get. And it was well run, and it was productive. We learned a lot. We learned about the International Seed Bank that Maggie,
Yeah, incredible seed library.
Seed Library. That's what it is, and how to get things, and lots of information, lots of good advice, and I think everyone was really happy with it. So it can only grow and grow.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Alan.
I concur with everything Ed said. It had such a lovely vibe, and I think considering all the hoo-ha with the room, the kitchen fusing, and then me, Kerry and Diane having to hastily put everything out at the back with minimal of noise, I thought we did really well, and we, you know, Kerry, you just went and grabbed a few bottles of wine. It all felt really nice. I think it's a solid event, and we should just aim to run it. And it's a low-cost event as well, isn't it? I thought Maggie was excellent, coming in like she did at the end, and I thought she could be another like Mumbles Green Hero speaker in the future, perhaps.
Definitely.
She came across so well. Yeah, so well done, everybody.
Yes.
It was typical, like a hall. Everyone puts the chairs away and off they go. It would have been nicer if it had been a bit of mingling later on, to a bit more interaction. You had free tea and coffee after the meeting, after the event had finished. Then everyone would stay on.
It's a good idea.
A quid for a
Yeah.
glass of wine, or
Yeah.
20
I would have thought the bar would have
and run it for another hour, so you got much
We
more.
don't have a bar at Austrian.
Oh, it was off stream, it wasn't up in, oh, it was here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bit quickly, I thought.
One thing I would say is, maybe when we're planning these events, we just take into consideration the workload of what the officers have got on, because it kind of clashed massively with
Unfortunate.
finishing of a huge project,
Yeah.
so it was quite, I know there was quite a lot of juggling going on work-wise. I was going to pick up on what Helen said about the kitchen. You are all sat there on the panel looking all nice and calm and everything, so us three are in the kitchen going, what do we do, what do we do? And it was just,
Yeah.
but then I got the kettles out and started boiling them, and I thought, oh my God, like this is too noisy, turn them off. Yeah. So maybe just next time from that perspective, we have a little bit more, like I said, we do a little bit more planning, and it might be good to get people mingling. If you get Maggie back again, she
Yeah.
brings some of the seeds down that you can
yeah.
Yeah.
just swap with. And I know she said people have to pay postage and packaging, so you just make a donation to her and
Yeah.
do a postage and packaging, and maybe if people wanted to bring some books, or you try and do a little bit of swapping type thing and make it a bit more of a
Yeah.
event.
I mean, we did set I suppose the thing is, we set the date a long time back, but obviously other things then came afterwards. I think it's important, I mean, whether we decide that the end of March is a good time and have it in the calendar, you know, as an annual event at that time. I mean, do people think it's been good? I mean, I think it's a good time because people are just starting to get
Yeah,
stuff
it
ready
does
for
well.
the summer.
Yeah.
Just the one day.
I would perhaps argue maybe the first week of April, because then you've actually passed the end of year.
The point I'm going to make is that funding that we applied for the garden
Yeah.
was released August, September time. So then that's why the timescale was it had to be used by the end of, I think we had an extension.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
March. I think originally it was the end of February.
I suppose, yeah, because we were thinking in terms of it would all be done by then. But of course, as it inevitably.
Yeah, so one of the things that
Yeah.
I'm going to do with Rob and Ash is we're going to sit down and plan out their yearly calendar of work. So then that will be a feature on your agenda going forward. So then when you get the additional projects in, we can look whether it's feasible, timely, practical for their workload. But it might be good as well if we can get a timetable of when grant funding will be released in the year as well, so that we can factor that in to just so we're managing the workflow.
Maybe we could move it earlier and have it at the end of February.
Oh, no. No. Can I come in? Sorry, Carrie. Can I come in? Sorry, I've got my hand up.
Yeah.
Sorry. So we did have that date in for a long time, and I think this goes to the point that I made in my kind of feedback to Mandy Williams, the evaluator, is I just feel that we need a full plan for the year where it's obvious when events are going to be run. Because last year when we ran it, Lydia she did not do as much. I did a lot of it, and Claire also did a lot of it. So I've no idea this year if Claire was even in the mix. But I think we just need a plan of the year where everyone is clear when everything is happening. And I think this year was unusual just because of the Jubilee Gardens getting in the way. But I feel that date was, we knew we were going to deliver it at the end of the year. And I feel February is just too sweet. April or end of March, early April is the time we need to run that event. It works when everything's coming up. So I think we need to keep that time. We need to plan better and maybe share the tasks a bit more. Obviously, if Rob felt like he was delivering a lot, and we obviously don't want that.
Yeah, maybe for the first week in April. Then I'm just thinking before we decide on anything. When is Easter next year?
My observation, and thank you, Helen, because I was going to make that point also, and you made it more eloquently than me. It was it's become much more of an event, and that as time goes on, although we should be putting into it, obviously, because it is something that we have an interest in to see it become part of the Mumbles Community Council calendar of events, would be much nicer.
So the way that this will work is that starting from the new financial year of April, there will be an events calendar that will have all of the fun days, but all the environmental events sat in that then as well. So everybody is clear, so there's no clashing of dates, and everybody's completely clear of what needs to be managed if anybody goes off. So anybody in anywhere can come in and pick it up and say, right, well, is that being done? Is that being done? And then if there's a covering of sick or holidays, it makes sure it flows a little bit better. So those meetings will be happening in April, and then they will be circulated, and then hopefully everybody will be a bit more in the know about what's going on.
And just to say, from Sarah, my point of view, thank you so much for making it such an excellent event on Friday. Sorry we couldn't attend.
Yeah. Well, if we made it after April, you were only doing alternate Fridays anyway.
That's right. So there's a 50-50 chance that we might be able to get there.
To be honest, they're doing so well now. It was so lovely.
Yeah.
The thought of turning it to
Anyway, the reality is Friday's the only time that the off-stream is available, so we kind of stuck with Friday. But I will say the first week in April is Easter week next year.
Good Friday.
Yeah, Good Friday is the 3rd of April. Probably not an ideal time to be having.
Could we then do it at the end of March next year? Because we've got it in the budget for next year, haven't we? What's the last Friday in March?
27th.
Why do we just do that?
Well, because as I say, I'm conscious that Sarah and Phil would like to be around.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But are they going to be available on the 20th? I'm trying to find a date that they are available on.
Fridays. It's a Friday.
We have every intention of continuing to run the Warm Hub until
Why do we have to do it on a Friday out this one?
Just because that was when Ostream's available, and obviously using Ostream means it doesn't cost us anything.
So the Ostream's only available on Friday. I know we probably don't need to discuss this now, but
Friday or Saturday, and I think we all felt we didn't want it on a Saturday.
The other option is rotating it in venues, because Tavion told me the other day, we are recorded here, aren't we? I was going to say, I think he told it to me in sort of an initial plan, not a final plan, but he's hoping to work with Friends of Clyne to set up a gardening club in Vivian Hall. He had really exciting plans, and he was sort of saying, because obviously he's usually on the panel, or whether we could rotate it and it could come as part of that gardening thing.
We could move it. We could, of course, have it at West Coast Community Centre after Warm up.
Yeah, you could. But it'd be nice to do something in
Yeah.
It'll be an interesting handover setup.
Yeah.
You know, rotating it is quite a nice idea, isn't it? Because it kind
I
of
think that's a good
semi-goes,
idea.
so I thought that was a good suggestion.
That was a good idea.
Well, maybe we could provisionally look at it being Thursday, the 26th.
And there's nothing in the calendar for the off stream for Thursday, 26th of March, 2026. Sorry, yeah, Thursday, 26th of March, 26.
Right.
If you wanted me to provision.
Well, if you provisionally put it in, but we'll also look at the potential for it
Yeah.
being
Yeah,
a kind of movable feast.
yeah. And I thought the tea and coffee, it did work quite well where it was.
Yeah, but I can see Ed's point about, like, if we offered something afterwards, people might stay and chat.
I love the idea about no, in the location, in the physicality of the building. I didn't think it mattered that it wasn't via the hatch. I love the idea of doing something afterwards.
no,
I thought
yeah.
it was quite nice having it out in the open. I know there was a problem with the noise, but we got round there. And so I think it's actually a bit nicer to do it in the main building
Yeah,
if we
yeah,
had to, you know.
yeah. Anyway, so, right, but yes, so we're all in agreement. It's something we should have in the calendar every year. The details we will, but provisionally we've put the date as 26th of March, which will hopefully fit in with everybody. Fantastic, right, Mumbles Crop Collective, right, we've got, if everyone wants to finish at 7:30, we've got 20 minutes to get the rest of the agenda done.
Okay, so Mumbles Crop Collective, Cash Hardware are providing the smaller goods, the tools, the plants and seeds. We have been granted an extension from the grant funder on this because of the time frame they gave us to let us know that we've been successful in spending the funds. And because of the issue with the card, I couldn't actually order the raised beds. So we run them and said, is there any chance we can have an extension? So that will be picked up this week now when Rob comes back tomorrow. So that's the update on that one.
Okay, is everybody fully up to speed with Mumbles Crop Collective? Have you all, Ed, do you get, no, you probably don't get these. I'll give that to you. Because they're available on Teams.
Where are the raised beds going to?
Well, the locations we've come up with at the moment, and obviously we are looking at other options, is Norton Nature Reserve, Austrian Centre, Skate Park. Sorry, can I borrow this back?
There must be some space in Jubilee for.
I think, yeah, out the front of Jubilee. Like Norton Nature Reserve, Jubilee Gardens, Mumbles Skate Park, Oystermouth Orchard, Ripples Cafe. Those are what we've got at the moment because they are places either that belong to us or that we've got agreement with, you know, who does own them. So that those are the starting points. But obviously the idea is this will be a start of. So obviously identifying further spots in Males, Newton, whatever, as the years go on, we can increase it. But I think those are probably enough for us as a small pilot project, see how it works, give it a go, and hopefully it'll all work out. So again, I hope all of you will be able to get involved in one way or another, and obviously we'll be putting, you know, work dates and volunteer dates and things out to make a start on it once we've been able to get everything ready to go. Okay, anybody got any further questions on Mumbles Crop Collective? Good name, like the name, MCC, works perfectly. Get the Radio 4 programme. We'll build up to that, Helen. Okay, Bee Friendly Street project, we're just basically waiting on the leaflet, aren't we? So,
Yeah, so Rob has given me that the
Yeah.
leaflet's been produced and this will be printed and distributed ASAP.
fantastic. Okay, well, when it's ready, we can all obviously have a go at doing a sort of bit of a shared, you know, go out and put the leaflets out and things. So excellent. Right, City Nature Challenge 25 and Earth Day April 22.
Yeah. So the City Nature Challenge 25 and Earth Day April 22nd. is in the location of Norton Nature Reserve. It's organised by Mumbles Community Council. It's part of the City Nature Challenge, which is a global 4-day BioBlitz, the 25th to the 28th of April, which is coordinated by Swansea City Council. And the event overview is a community-led BioBlitz where participants will work together to identify and record as many species as possible within the reserve. So this will be publicised and promoted via our social media, and obviously we will get the date out there to hopefully engage with as many people as possible.
It's on the calendar, the Swansea Council calendar, isn't it?
Yes.
The events
Yeah.
for the time. Excellent. So again, another thing. Yep, Ed.
That's the same dates as the water testing.
That's right. Then it's all, everything's all the same thing. Yeah. Right. Earth Day. This is, I don't know whether this is going to be possible, but at Oxfam for Earth Day are organising a plant swap. You know, encouraging different groups to do a plant swap. Do you think it would be realistic for us to do one on that soon? It's only 3 weeks.
Realistically, from our point of view, probably not.
Yeah, I don't feel my plants will be ready.
I've got a few cuttings that are.
There are, but they would have to be hardened off and
Exactly, and
we've
I,
got coming up to the 27th.
I mean, that's it. My feeling is with Easter in the middle, that much as it would be lovely to engage with the Oxfam seed swap, I honestly don't think we've got the time to get it, not with Easter slap bang in the middle as well.
Maybe it's something that could feed into next year on the back of
Yes.
the collective, maybe.
Yes. And when we're talking about, we're definitely going to do a plant and seed swap, but we're talking about June.
Mhm.
I just thought if people were keen, we could move it forward, but I think we'll continue with it. We'll all have, Helen, we're on her vast allotment. We'll have lots of stuff ready by June. So yes, so you know, please do all start planting. Ian, you know, you see, we're a lot of allotment holders here. So yes, always, you know, plant double what you want, keep the others, and then we've got lots of things that we can put out for a plant swap down at Norton Nature Reserve later in the year. Okay, so we won't do it now because we're in a hurry, but for next meeting, we'll fix a date. So if you could put down that as an action, Ian, because we need Rob and obviously to be involved in that. So next month, we'll fix the date for the plant swap. Okay, Mumbles Buzz and Bloom. Unfortunately, we didn't have leaflets ready for Friday. Just Rob had I think he just ran out of time.
yeah.
So is there anything on that?
He's just got that it was launched at Gardener's Question Time and the categories and format have been agreed. So just a quick conversation would need to be had in terms of how we promote the event and nomination of entrants as well. Because when you announced it at Question Time, we didn't actually say how we were receiving nominations. Yeah.
I just sort of waffled on a bit thinking I don't actually know any of the details of this.
Yeah, so obviously we'll get some promotion out about the dates for judging, the categories and how people can submit their nominations. A lot of the feedback that we received around some of the attendees from Gardener's Question Time, but also for the people who are trying to register for the VE Day as well, is that some of our older community cannot use QR codes, so they're having issues. Obviously, joining things, we need to make sure we're being inclusive. So maybe if we had a special little drop box in here, people can just drop nominations into.
And perhaps we can put paper copies like in the library, the community centres where they can go and pick it up, fill it in by hand.
Yeah.
And drop it
So
back.
we could do a QR for those, and then to make sure we're being inclusive, we'll do we'll do that. And then I'm also looking to possibly pinch a coffee with friends day to turn it into a digital bulb inclusive day, using Age Cymru to come down and show
Good idea.
elderly residents how to use QR codes and how to use their smartphones and laptops and things like that. So it will evolve from
That'd
that.
be great. Really good. Helen.
The only comment I'd make is that last year, asking people to nominate their own gardens, it didn't work. We literally didn't have any nominations. I think we should just be able to nominate people ourselves and ask
Yeah,
people to
well, I
nominate.
did say at the event to say to people,
Exactly.
if you see a fantastic garden, let us know. We can go down and we can encourage them.
But
So, yes,
I don't think that's what I mean. I mean that anyone should be able to nominate anyone.
oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's not the same thing, is it? It's,
We
we should just say
wanna-
nominate, if you see a great garden, nominate them, not
Yeah.
send us down.
Yeah, I think we should do both. I think we
Yeah.
should get the cards up and running again and put the
Yeah.
cards through people's doors, but also tell people if you see a neighbour's garden and, you know, nominate them.
Yeah,
If they,
yeah.
if they like.
And on that topic, following our conversation with Carrie, I've put a little email together, but haven't sent it out quite yet, just to ask for some submissions from the youth group, possibly to the schools, under some of the sort of the topical headings of the environmental committee sort of projects, if you like, asking for submissions. And of course, then if, you know, when we see submissions of artwork, we feel that we can use them for promotional material,
Yeah.
although the prize in itself is the recognition of the artist and the use. We did it previously, Helen, if you remember, back for one of the Mumbles Fest, we displayed all the artwork and things around from the schools.
A prize could be, if we do them on the big hanging things, we give it to the child afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I mean, a Buzz and Bloom banner would be
Again,
fantastic.
but again, the idea being is that actually we could pick one perhaps to use for Buzz and Bloom, but there might be other ones that we can use throughout the year. And again, you know, we shouldn't limit it just to sort of the youth. I mean, if there are any older groups that are feeling particularly artistically inclined.
Maybe we could do a Coffee with Friends art session. We could get the lovely lady who came to
Yeah.
Whitestone,
Oh, right, yeah.
the one the Helen that we use for
Dream catchers.
the what's it thing? Yeah, but she does drawings and things as well.
Anna Thorburn,
Yeah.
Anna Thorburn, I've got her contacts, yeah.
It would be lovely to have to sort of combine people's interests, their own interests, into what we do as a community.
Good.
Yeah, and I did say to everybody to take photos of their gardens starting now, you know, so we can see, because, you know, turning up on one day, we might have missed lots of really nice stuff. So, you know, the idea is of launching it now, that people can take photographs every 2 or 3 weeks to see the progression.
Your garden.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's right. We used her at Whitestone as well in February. Yeah, she's great.
Lovely, that's me done on Buzz and Bloom.
Okay, anyone else got anything to add in? We just need to get cracking on, get the publicity out.
Just as thought though, if we're going to nominate somebody else's garden, you need to get their
Permission,
permission and
exactly.
explain it to them in, you know.
Yeah, what we do, if they nominate to us, we know the address, we put the card through. And at the least then they know that a neighbour thinks their garden's nice, but if they've got any, they can just phone us and say, oh, I don't want to be in there.
Or drop the council an email or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the details are on there, please contact, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's good, the cards are really useful because, you know, you can just, you know,
They're nice
stick around.
They're nice.
Come, let's, you know, we can leave them on people's allotments.
Okay, Helen, can you hear us?
Yeah,
Yeah, she's obviously really excited.
I can hear you loud and clear, but sometimes I turn my mic off.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, right, move on to Mumbles Climate Emergency Action. This was the water quality testing project, wasn't it?
Yeah. Just left me a note to say this relates to the UK water blitz run by Earthwatch. There were limited free testing packs and it was not successful in obtaining one.
Okay.
I have registered interest for the September water blitz. It's a national event testing water quality in water courses around the UK. And if you're not selected for a free pack, the cost to get the equipment to take part ranges from £650 to £1,400. So hopefully, fingers crossed,
We'll get a free
I'll
pack.
get a free pack for September and it'll be something that'll be picked up then.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Question?
I may not be answered, but
These,
yeah.
these packs, are they single use or are they effectively a testing kit that we can use again and again and again?
Good point. We could.
We can find out.
Yeah, let's find that out because
Yeah, if it's something we use.
If it's something we
it's
can
worth
do.
investing.
I would say that as it is a climate emergency, this would be perfect to draw on our climate emergency reserves and to join in that water testing project ASAP so that we don't have to wait for September and we can start.
Yeah.
So it means we can do a number of places.
Well, that's the idea. We'd do Washing House Brook, we'd do,
If it's-
the one through
Yeah, so
mine.
use kit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Good idea. Right, let's.
On that.
Litter fees on to monthly litter pick dates. We've obviously moved away from the monthly Sunday mornings because people felt it wasn't the best way of doing it, although obviously some people might still want to do that. So at the moment, we don't have any future dates
No.
for litter picks.
So he said that it was agreed that it would be moved to a Friday and promoted within the school groups, and this month's litter pick took place alongside the Warm Pub, which was a successful event. And due to time constraints, he's not yet arranged anything for April, but he will. And his preferred date would either be the 3rd or the last Friday of every month, so it's a regular date.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah. So
Well, the 3rd fits in with Warm Hub,
It does.
which could be, but it won't always be in West Cross, so would the 4th be better?
Well, this was what I was going to say. On the month that it does fall in West Cross, I would perhaps suggest the 3rd. So it coincides
Yeah.
because we had a lovely turnout from mums.
Great.
It's very successful. The only thing is that, we might end up with the same area picked unless we move it around West Cross.
We could try and see if we could move it.
So let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
But I think that worked really well alongside.
Well, do you want to do something for April? Because we did Oystermouth in March, February. We've done West Cross in March. Do you want to do something for April? For the last Friday in April, which is the 3rd Friday. What would be Good Friday? No good.
No, we've done 2 in Males in Q4. We did the Black Pill launch event and we did so we've done 2, and I didn't think Rob was going to be participating in the future litter picks. Have I got that wrong?
on the Fridays, yes, it was just if they were on the
We
weekend.
couldn't do
Oh,
it.
right, I see. Well, I've scribbled some dates down. Me and Chris got our heads together and we agreed when we thought we could run weekend ones. And he
Okay,
wanted to
so
link that to
you- yeah.
weeding. So I'm happy to crack on.
Okay.
And I'll put these dates in the chat just so everyone's got them. But I just think with Chris, he'd find it really difficult on a Friday. And I think we tend to try and do it together. And I find Fridays difficult because I'm not meant to work, but I always do.
We make mails still at the weekend, it's fine.
Well, that's absolutely fine by
Yeah.
me. I just didn't want, I just want to make the point, let's make sure that Helen and Chris's dates are as equally, advertised.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what about if it was alternated then?
That's just thinking, you could do a Friday and then the following a weekend.
The following month it would be a weekend, so Helen and Chris aren't having to do every month, every
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
They're having to do every
Every Friday.
Friday, there'd be 6. 6.
I think that's really
How
sensible.
does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the weekend ones, we wouldn't have Rob because we'd be organising them ourselves.
I would prefer to carry on the weekend. It's even though I technically have the day off on Friday, it's so often that I'm ending up having to do stuff. And Chris definitely works on a Friday, and I
Okay,
tend
you
to involve the kids.
You can do the alternate ones that if we'll have 6 weekend slots, so,
Yeah,
you know, we can fit in with those.
that's right. I'm going to put the dates in that we initially penciled in. I'll put them in. I'm just going to go through. I'll put them in the chat. And
That's
see what you
fine.
make
Well,
of
yeah,
them.
if you want to just email them to us, because obviously the
Okay.
chat will be
Could
at
you,
the end of the
yeah,
meeting.
could you copy
Okay,
me
oh,
into?
good idea. Sorry,
So I can-
Kerry.
You copy me into those dates so I can share them with Rob when we're planning the
Yeah.
Friday one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Okay, so we'll say the alternate third Friday of each month, alternating with a weekend slot. And then, you know, there might be sometimes the other wards would prefer to have a weekend thing. Sometimes for a beach cleaner, a Saturday or Sunday morning are actually quite good times. So, you know, we can work that way.
3 minutes.
Okay, engaging with young people, this is Sarah's.
And as I said, the message.
Yes.
Speed up. I had an interesting climate meeting today, and Jane Richmond wants more people, especially young people, to discuss their concerns about climate because she's doing this big report. And she asked if councillors could help.
Is that Jane Richmond from the city?
Who came here.
Yeah, Jane, who's,
Yeah.
who's,
And I said, well, I didn't say, but we all nodded enthusiastically. But I wondered whether or not we could arrange something where we could get some kids, or even do it at Warm Hub.
I was just
Yeah.
thinking, or can we ask the youth club, perhaps, if they would.
Oh, that's a great
Warm
idea,
Hub.
Carrie. That's the way
Yeah.
to do it. Do it in the youth club on a Monday.
There was
Yeah.
at a good age for something.
Yeah.
We could we'll get the mums as well, and then we'll have a good collection.
Many years ago, this is relevant, many years ago, at a charitable project, we did a consultation exercise with young people, and we found that getting children on the edge of a bouncy castle, getting them to sit and bounce on the side of bouncy castle whilst talking about the particular
We could
topic
do it at Fest.
would be absolutely brilliant. And all you would actually need then is obviously permission of the parent and someone with a you know, to take a very short 60-second burst of video to get that in.
She's talking about September, that when she needed it by,
So we could run it through the summer,
And sorry, what date is Mumbles Fest this year?
sometime in June,
5th, 6th.
something like that, beginning early in June.
So it's earlier in June.
It's earlier in June, so over a weekend. It is the, I shouldn't have just done the license for it. It's the 7th of June, Saturday.
You've caused a bit of a stir with that. Oh my God.
We'll talk about that after.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
So my point being is that for a project work style tent or area where that environmental sort of feedback could be given, a booth, something that's fun for the kids to engage with.
Yeah. That you hold up and you talk, you know, as if you're like on TV.
Yeah. You know, and again, if you're interested,
Think ideas around that, bring them to the next meeting, and we'll try and work a programme out through the summer of different events that we can use to engage.
One thing I will say about that for Mumbles Fest is I'm not here because I'd already booked my holiday before the date.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if Rob will be available because he does get
Yeah, of
married
course.
in June.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
so just to be mindful of that.
Maybe then we do it at one of the fun days in August.
Yeah,
A fun day.
We'll go for the fun days.
All of Sundays.
Yeah, we could do different, different
We
sections.
could give the dates to Jane Richmond to see if she can come to selection.
Oh, wow. So you as well.
is your sister going there?
I think fun days sound great. I would say that the age, sorry, let's do that. I think the age of the fun days is quite low though. It's like the youth club age is year 6.
Well.
Yeah, year 6,
Um,
7, 8. The fun days I
Yeah.
would say is year like 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
I
So-
have a Sorry, Helen, I have another suggestion as well that's currently being worked on at the moment. Exist have had lottery funding to do some outdoor safety training sessions in for skateboarding, and they've approached me asking if they can do it at Mumbles Skate Park. So currently a bit of a three-way conversation going on between me and Swansea City Council and them, because we've got to be mindful of the land training operating up and down and when they can do it, but
Yeah.
they're talking for 10 weeks through the summer on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, so that may be an
Another
opportunity
opportunity. Yeah,
that
yeah.
they can be spoken to there as well.
And then
It's a perfect one. It teach them safety, avoid a lot of tricks.
Yes. Okay, brilliant. Right, MCC website. I think this is sort of on hold until we have the new contractor in place,
Yeah.
because there's no point in us making any decisions about website until we know who our new contractor.
Contractor is, and also obviously there is talk to council before it escalates back into the committees, each
Fantastic.
Okay.
Okay,
One observation.
so,
Thank you. Just for anybody who cares to watch this, the idea of having an environmental website is not a new one for us. The fact that this isn't a place for the environmental committee to live in terms of its policies and procedures, that would be the usual Mumbles community. But there is an opportunity for wider engagement with the community by having a separate or at least a clear website for or link to highlight our projects, our assets, what's available for people to enjoy in terms of that, and that can fall under the environmentalist
absolutely.
umbrella.
I mean, those sorts of things did or do intermittently go on to the environmental page on the current website.
As opposed to a website that is there primarily to provide a backdrop for the council, its policies and procedures,
No, we don't want to.
promotion of events, and news, as in community news. So when it came to having a discussion about why, if we needed a separate website for environmental stuff, it's really an addition in order to highlight our assets and the work that's going on, volunteering opportunities, etc., rather than sort of say, no, we're not paying attention to the council. It's an add-on, not not.
So,
But I just thought I'd say that for the benefit.
lovely.
Recording. Thank you very much.
Right, meeting finished. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, Helen.
Very impressive. We've done it in almost exactly an hour. Thanks, Helen. See you soon.
Thanks, Helen.
I think we did that in 45 minutes. We took it.
Ian,
Yeah. Sorry.
you haven't pressed stop yet. I was